I'm Christine Don here at C2E2 with ComicsVerse. I'm here with the incredibly talented Danielle Otrajki. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
How's the con been treating you?
It's been really good so far. It's my first time doing C2E2, so far so good.
So far, so good. That's all you can expect, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to thank you first for taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. I know you're like super packed and there's like obviously a crowd around your table right now.
I love interviewing with ComicsVerse. It's always been really fun, so no problem at all.
Yay! Okay, so I wanted to start off by saying that I know right now you're working on Deception or Liberty Deception Volume 1. Could you give us a brief overview about what that project is about and what drew you to that project?
Actually, it's I did a convention in Miami, Magic City Con, and the writer and creator of the comic, Travis Van Groff, approached me and was interested in my work, and I'm only doing a 3-page contribution, so it's kind of a flashback scene of Amos, one of the characters, but yeah, it's really well written. I haven't really gotten too into it just because they're still kind of developing it, and it's being funded right now and with Kickstarter. But yeah, it's a sci-fi post-apocalypse comic. I'm doing 3 pages about Amos, this scientist, inventor, and robots and soldiers, and yeah, it's super fun so far.
So it's on Kickstarter, you said?
Yes, it is.
Where can people find this Kickstarter to support it? It's just called Liberty Deception?
Yeah, Liberty Deception Volume 1. If you follow Travis Van Groff, he'll be updating about it, and I'm always posting about it, so yeah, it's hopefully will be a success.
Great, awesome. So can you talk a little bit about your artistic process? I know you do a lot of inking, and you primarily work in black and white, but you have been like dabbling in color recently. So do you like to do your inking like traditionally and then do your post on digitally, or?
Yeah, well, it actually varies. So sometimes, actually with the majority of my works here, I'll start traditionally, pencils and inks, and then I'll color digitally. And a lot of times I like throwing textures onto things, so I'll like make my own textures and scan those, and then I'll like kind of merge the two. But and then a lot of times I do things like monotypes, which is entirely traditional. I've been really into like pastel drawing, which I spoke with Kay about. But yeah, I'm really into pastels and charcoal, and I kind of like to like jump around because I have a tendency to get bored, so I like to experiment a lot. But yeah, I'm mostly a traditional artist, but I really I like coloring digitally.
Well, I think it's important as an artist to be versatile and to try new things and experiment. So I think that's great that you're trying these things. I also, like Kay, love pastels, love watercolors. So I'm very excited to see that work for you.
She was super excited.
She was super excited.
Oh my god, yes.
Yes. So
pastels.
what sort of program do you usually use in like digitally to like do your work?
I'm totally a Photoshop girl. Yeah. It's just super practical, and I'm really comfortable with that. So yeah, I primarily use Photoshop.
Cool. And then like when I look at your art, and I know you're really into horror and sci-fi, which I am too. And so like what I really like about your art is when I look at it, it's like horror in a way that's, you know, when you look at it, it's not necessarily scary, but more disturbing. It's like haunting. It leaves you kind of like uncomfortable. Yeah. Is that like something that you aim for, or do you like the whole like shock and gore?
I think I definitely aim for more of a psychological reaction. So I like gore and shock and all that, but I like that there's a kind of a disturbing sort of energy. As long as I'm getting some kind of like emotional or mental reaction to something that I've produced, then I feel like I'm doing what I intended to do. So yeah.
Yeah, like some of my favorite stuff is like grotesque and beautiful, or like and like creepy. Just I like creepy stuff. So I really like your work for that reason.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of like my monotypes kind of are like that, and I was exploring like, you know, the theme of death and the Grim Reaper, and they're not very like gory, but they're dark in the sense that you feel something heavy inside. I mean, at least I do.
Yeah. So besides being an amazing illustrator, you also do a lot of 3D illustration and sculpting work. And I know you recently did a little piece for Zach Galifianakis' show Baskets, which I haven't heard anything about.
Yeah, it's so I should start by saying I was working with the studio Vitamin Pictures here in Chicago, and so we were pitching for the show, for like the titles or something for the show, and kind of giving them like style reference and ideas. It didn't actually get used in the show, but yeah, it was really fun to work on. I love sculpting and photographing sculptures but the show came out in January, and it's really funny. We got to see an episode. And
great. And so can you kind of give us a little bit of background on how you got into sculpting and 3D illustration?
Yeah, I've always liked, like when I was little, I didn't really have like a lot of toys. It was more like Play-Doh and clay and stuff. So I always liked using my hands in sculpting, and I used to make like all these really small like miniatures. But yeah, so when I was in college, a really good friend of mine, Shulong Tien, we collaborated on a children's book, and we sculpted all the monsters and the kids, and so from there I was like, I did a Christmas illustration. Anyway, it was kind of what like sparked my interest in that, and having like the resources and stuff helped a lot. So
yeah, speaking of him, I know you recently did some 3D sculpting for him as well for his new children's book, I Love Monsters.
Yeah, we created that together. And that was the project that was the project we worked on.
Oh, okay,
and
great.
He's an amazing artist and sculptor, and now he's working for Hasbro actually. Yeah.
Nice. So like you and what's his name? Sorry. Shulong Tian co-created I Love Monsters.
Yeah.
Great. And so like where can people find that?
We were selling it at conventions. But I'll be opening an online shop soon, and we'll have them available there.
How is 2D illustration the same and different than 3D illustrations?
That's a really good question. I kind of feel like both processes kind of like affect and influence each other. So like when I'm sculpting, I'm kind of like I'm forming something, and that helps me understand, creating dimensions. So then when I wind up doing a 2D illustration, I'm like, okay, I now understand how something is, formed in that way, and then vice versa. Composition and stuff has a lot to do with how you photograph the illustrations or the sculptures to create an illustration. So yeah, they kind of like go back and forth in terms of like, the technique and the composition and all of that.
Great. So just switching gears a little bit, I know that Hellboy and Lieutenant Mike Blueberry are some of your favorite characters because they have like a zero tolerance policy towards like racial discrimination, and that you really like comics or works that sort of reflect real life issues or current or historical like issues that like have a basis in the real world. Are there any are there any characters right now that have climbed the ranks to join Hellboy and Mike Blueberry?
None that quite compare. I'm kind of like, I'm looking for that character for me again, because that one, those two had such an impact on me, and but yeah, I was always fascinated with those. I love what they stand for. I love superheroes and the classic superhero, but what attracted me to those characters more than anything was their purpose, and their lack of, need for recognition and praise, and they kind of just do what
they're doing
they're doing because they're on a mission to do something for the greater good, and I haven't come across any that quite do that for me yet.
Right. But have you come across a different series, whether it's film, television, comics, that have sort of reached that sort of level of Hellboy that like they're driving at real life issues and like you really like, or are you sort of like, do you feel that that comic hasn't come around again?
Well, there are a few like graphic novels that I've read that had sort of a similar effect on me, but Mouse and Persepolis and things like that.
Persepolis is a great one.
Yeah. And I can relate to that one because not totally relate to it, but I can kind of understand because I'm from the Middle East, so it's like a little bit, close to home.
Before we wrap up, could you tell me what's next for you, or what our viewers at ComicsVerse can come to expect from you in the next few months?
Yeah, well, of course, as we mentioned, the Liberty Deception comic will be coming out, and then I'm doing variant cover for The Beauty, which is published by Image Comics and created by Jeremy Hahn, and it's an awesome comic, and I'm really proud to be working on cover artwork for that. So yeah, those things. I'm unrelated to comics. I just did something super exciting and did some artwork for one of my favorite bands, Masked Intruder.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's
congratulations!
But super exciting for me. So that'll be coming out on their next album. But yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so is there anything you'd like to say? Any parting words for our viewers at ComicsVerse?
Thank you for always coming to me and interviewing me. I'm super flattered, even though I'm a really awkward interviewee. But I always love talking to you guys, so thank you.
Great, awesome. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
So before we wrap up, my name is Christine Donna, and I'm with ComicsVerse at C2E2. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, you can like and comment and subscribe to our channel, ComicsVerse at YouTube. You can also follow us at ComicsVerse on Twitter, and we're also on Tumblr and Facebook. And finally, and most importantly, we are at ComicsVerse.com. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.